Hello everyone, this is Michael from Ancient Greece Revisited, and we're back with a fascinating guest. I want to introduce to you a person who you probably already know and who's done great things in the space and who's been very kind to us and our channel. He's called the Gnostic Informant, and we will just call each other Neal and Michael.
Sounds easy to me.
Thank you very much for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
I hope you had a great time
Having
visiting
a blast.
Greece. Before beginning this discussion, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking on the membership of this YouTube channel. And of course, supporting us on Patreon. Thank you very much. So you're here on a bit of an expedition.
Yes.
Right? And a bit of a spiritual quest. So just what are the first snapshots, the first impressions on that plane?
So I got here, and first thing I did to go to the Acropolis, go to the museum, hit up all the locations that are in Athens, like the Areopagus, stuff like that. And then we, started going along the outskirts. We went to Cape Sunion, Temple of Poseidon, did some in front of the camera work there, Delphi, Eleusis, Thebes, Mycenae, Temple of Asclepius, I went to the sanctuary of Pan in Arcadia, visited the locals. I've been on an adventure this entire time.
What was the common thread? What was the thing that connected everything? What was the quest?
I'm here to explore the revival of ancient religion from pre-Christian times. And I'm also talking to Christians here. I talked to a priest here. I have another interview scheduled in a couple of days with the Orthodox priest of an old 11th century church. Great guy too. I'm just trying to get the sense of what it's like on the ground, because you hear a lot of things I live in the United States, and there's a lot of talk on the internet. There's a lot of what we call LARPers, people who pretend to be doing revivalism, but they're just online doing it. They're not really serious. They're just trying to pretend that they're doing it. But I wanted to come to talk to people who are really serious about this, in which you've introduced me to some of these people, and talk to them, and even just pull some people aside on the street, like I did yesterday in Arcadia. I just pulled a guy and asked him, what do you think about this sanctuary over here, and get their thoughts on it.
I'm just going to stay there. What were the thoughts? Because you're talking about people who live a very rural life.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, they have a temple dedicated to Pan and Zeus being erected right next to them.
Yeah.
What do they think of that?
I actually thought there was going to be rejection from most of the older people, because Orthodox Christianity is huge here. I witnessed for the first time ever the Pascha, and I grew up Catholic in the United States, and Easter Sundays are half an hour long. Everyone can't wait to leave and go home and eat dinner.
Did you have a proper Good Friday Epitaphios?
Yes, I attended an Orthodox church, and I saw the 3-hour-long Pascha. Everyone's attentive. Everyone knows the liturgy. Everyone's into it. And it's an older crowd, I should say that. There wasn't a lot of younger people there. So I want to make that very clear.
It really depends on the church, though.
That's true. I only saw one church, so this was my experience. However, so I was expecting to hear some people pushing back, but there really wasn't a lot of that. I think people are more united by being Greek than they are about religion. I know this is something that fascinated me. I did not expect this. Christians don't necessarily, some of these Christians, I should say, the ones I talked to, don't necessarily have any hatred for some of these people that are going to other options, and vice versa. The people who are going to revival Greek religion don't hate Christians. They're united as Greeks, and that was actually pretty beautiful to notice that.
It's a very interesting angle. Yeah, I mean, we had our time there in Arcadia, and we did an interview with Bexis and his work, and then we heard that he got into trouble with the authorities and people tried to shut it down, and they used our video as a kind of introduction on some local newspapers, which was very interesting. But when we posted that video on our channel, the comments almost took us back to the 3rd century AD. There were people who were like, "You're demon worshippers, get out." And
that's what I mean about the internet.
Yeah.
The internet says one thing, and sometimes on the ground is another thing. And I noticed that on the internet, it's very one-sided, or either they're pro-Christianity and hate the pagan devil worshippers, or they're completely 100% pagan and hate Christianity. Christianity ruined the world, Dark Ages, that there.
It was shockingly divided. I tried to stay out of it, but it was shockingly divided. And that is a general frustration that I have with the internet. There's people who write comments on our and I'm thinking, like, who is that person?
Or do they actually mean this?
Do they actually mean it? And who is that person
Yeah.
who wrote like 2 pages of half comprehensible, pulling different strands of mythologies and being convinced that he's right about something I don't even understand?
Tell me about it.
I'd like to like meet him like I'm meeting you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'd get a different perspective.
But you brought up a good point though, that even though I did mention the people I met surprised me and how not
partisan, unpartisan,
but there is some struggle, and there is sort of a beef going on, and some of these priests do reject. Some of them are blaming. I've seen someone blame the earthquake in Santorini on people leaving their Christianity, and we need to go back to the church. And on the flip side of that, and then in your article that you pointed out, you had this priest saying this is a religion of a bygone era of where they did horrible things, and they're basically just barbaric, but then like you said, you also get people who really cannot stand the Christian dogma, and they really are, they just think it's the problem right now.
Yeah, well, you will never get away, you will never surpass this, because it's true that historically the two aspects, the pagan and the Christian, came into violent conflict. And it's also historically true that a lot of this conflict was initiated by the Christians. There's no doubt about that. And that a lot of the Christian dogma was formed almost as a contradistinction to the pagan world. There's aspects of Christianity that are, philosophically negative. They're a negation of paganism. They're more unpagan than Christian. And that's ingrained in Christianity, so you can't really take it away. There's always going to be this conflict. For me, where we are, and the reason why I may find aspects of this conflict ridiculous, is because neither is giving us the food that we desire. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I just see people desiring something. Like recently, I just had a phone call from, a person who is doing a documentary in a place called Portochelli, and he said, I'd like you to present some. And I'm like, I wish I was getting these calls from my actual business. But people are picking this aspect of my life, and they're looking for more. And neither Christianity nor paganism are giving us the nourishment that we desire. Are we doing it wrong? Are we doing Christianity wrong? Many out there are going to say yes. We haven't fully embraced, although you have a fascinating story that I want to get out. Some people might say we're not doing paganism. I say we're all looking for the third thing. And third thing has yet to come. We are looking for a new revelation.